Good morning. Welcome to Teen Wisdom Tuesday. If you could see outside my window this morning, you would see snow. We got this much snow last night, which was not expected. We knew it was going to snow, but not that much. That's a lot of snow for October 2nd. And it just hit me this morning when I opened up the curtains and saw this huge pile of snow that the world changed overnight. And sometimes that's how it feels when we are parenting our teenagers. Like our world changes overnight. One minute things are okay, and the next minute we think, who is this teenager that is living in our house? Where did this behavior come from? Where did this attitude come from? And we can often feel blindsided. And so today I'm going to share with you a powerful message about how to make sense of your teen's behavior, because in my decade and a half of working with teens, I know that teens can often be unpredictable, mercurial, confusing to understand. They might say they want something, but take no action to get it and be actually acting in a way that makes sure that they don't get it. And all of that can be really confounding when we are just trying to support them in their life. And it can lead us to all kinds of disconnection from them, conflict that impacts our entire family and spreads throughout all areas of our lives. So here is my powerful message to you about how to make sense of your teen's behavior. Your teen is going through their life experiences using all of the resources that they see around them to try and make sense of their world. And they are learning how to do this. And they are not always very sophisticated at doing it. And the way that your teen is living their life often provides contrast to your life. So if this is your teen's life and this is your life, there is contrast. And so as an adult, if you have lived your life with certain rules, and what I mean by rules is the way that you operate. So here are some rules I have. I get up in the morning and I make my bed. I eat breakfast every morning. Now those are just some basic examples of rules. They're my habits. They're the patterns in my life that I have developed. And so I have those rules. Living with honesty and telling the truth even though it's uncomfortable. Those things are important to me. So I'm sure you can think about the rules that you have in your life. I worked very hard as a university student to stay debt-free. Okay, so you get a sense of the rules I have around money, around my daily habits, around my integrity. So those are some rules that I have. In come our children, our teens. They are still building their set of rules, their operating system, if you will, for those of you who are computer minded. They're still building that. And their rules might mean that they are foolhardy with their money. They're not interested in being debt free. They're interested in living for the moment. And so notice how that provides a contrast to the way I live my life. If remaining debt free is important to me and this teen is spending all of their money, that creates conflict because there is contrast. And here is what I want you to really feel and know with your body, mind, and spirit, all of you. Really lean into this. It feels like that contrast is something we need to get rid of because it's causing the conflict. But the contrast is actually the place where we have an opportunity to grow. So as an adult, I might want to say, living debt-free is better. And my teen might say, no, enjoying life's every moment is better. And then we are in conflict. But if we could, even just in our minds, even just for a moment, imagine what it might be like if our teen was right. maybe some of my money ought to be for enjoying the moment. Maybe I could spend a little bit more on things that seem indulgent. What difference would that make to the quality of my life if I did that? And even just stepping into that in my mind cracks open an opportunity that I didn't see before. That is the opportunity we have with our teens, is to understand that the way they're living their life is in contrast to the way we're living our lives. And that means we have the opportunity to step into the contrast and see things differently and allow something new to emerge. Now I know this feels like it is vulnerable because it's asking us to step out of a position that for many of us is very hardened. We have lived this way for a long time. It helps us feel safe and protected, and that hardness is exactly what is causing conflict because we end up butting heads. Does that mean our teenagers are always right? Absolutely not. Does it mean we always have to see things from their perspective? It means that we have the opportunity to try that and see what can emerge. Because here is the truth. You're an expert in your own life. You know what has worked for you. And your teen is an expert in their life. They're the ones who are living their experience with their thoughts, their emotions, their patterns, their habits, the rules they're creating in their life that help them feel safe. And so the more we can really step into understanding what that is, the more possibilities open up for all of us. Here's a really concrete example. I have a client who says her and her husband are not they don't take risks. They're not risk takers. And their son wants a motorcycle. And so you can see how if they are not risk takers, they're like, motorcycles are risky. Absolutely not. But if they could step in for a moment to understanding what their son might want with a motorcycle, what would a motorcycle give him in his life that he doesn't have right now? A sense of adventure, a sense of freedom, a sense of independence. Those things are really valuable and life-giving to this young man. How can we come to understand that our children want those things that we just don't need in our lives? But that's the opportunity, is to really step into understanding where our teens are coming from so that we can support them. Yeah, it's scary to think about supporting a teen wanting a motorcycle and all of that entails. But I will tell you this, the wanting of the motorcycle is not going away. It might get shoved down, suppressed, shamed, told you shouldn't want that, or you can't have that, or you have to wait for that. And all of that is continuing conflict. But if we can come alongside our children and acknowledge, I get it. You want to feel freedom, independence, exhilaration. I get that. And here's how we can support you in getting that. We're not saying no, we're saying let's take it slow and do it together because there's a lot to consider here. So I hope that one example can really help you to see how to make sense of your teen's behavior. The reason why it is so aggravating, frustrating, heartbreaking, and it brings up all of these negative emotions is because it's contrast to our lives, and it breaks so many of the rules and values that we have been living with that have been working for us. But those ways may or may not be working for your teen, and they need your support. Now I know when you're in the middle of this conflict with your teens, it can be so difficult to see what's happening because you're so in it. And we get really attached to being right about the way we live our lives. And we get really attached to our children seeing things the same way that we see them, that we sometimes miss the opportunity to come alongside them and understand where they're at. And that's why I do the work that I do. I'm a transformational life coach. So I help parents to transform the way they operate in their lives, particularly the way they relate to their kids. Because what bubbles up when we start to understand the contrast and see the possibility is we start to see the possibilities in so many other areas of our lives. The pain of being in conflict with your teen or seeing your teen struggle is just the tip of the iceberg. That's what brings you to reach out for a new way of approaching that relationship. But when you start to learn the skills of seeing things in a new way, what bubbles up is more possibility, more opportunity, more joy, more courage. Those are the qualities that I help parents with teens step into. So if you would like more courage, more confidence, more opportunity, more joy, living a thriving, vibrant life, then that's what I can connect you with. So go ahead and pop a comment in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear what message you're really taking from this today. Go ahead and post in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, be well, everyone.